I think it's obvious who I'm going to ask to speak next.
Sure, bring it on.
Actually, we're really happy to have James here. He's one of Canada's few publishers. We're a small country. You know, the U.S. is full of publishers. Canada's not so many. And James is a real powerhouse in the state of Manitoba. So he's going to give us a little story about himself and see what we get.
Thanks so much, Randy, and everyone here at Words Collide. This is just amazing. I almost have to pinch myself just being up here on this panel with the other esteemed guests. I'm pretty sure most of them sell more books, from one title that they put out than I put out, that I sell an entire year. So it's you guys are, it's amazing being here with you guys. I think I've always been kind of destined to be part of the writing and publishing scene. I don't know if anyone, I would never ask this at any other place aside from perhaps a room full of people who are into science fiction fantasy, but I have an unusual name, and I'm not sure if anyone here kind of would know where the name Jameis actually might come from that's tied into science fiction and fantasy. Don't have any takers, so I'll just kind of fill you in. My mother, when she was pregnant with me, read a book called Dune by Frank Herbert. And there's this character in the middle who challenges Paul Atreides to a battle, and his name's Jameis. And he ends up getting killed. And my mother thought, that's such an interesting character. I think I'll name him my son after him. And I was actually just thinking this afternoon, we were having lunch, and Patty was saying how George Martin likes to go ahead and take favorite characters and kill them off, and people cry and beg and are upset because they named their children after these now dead characters. And my mother managed to go ahead and pick a dead character and name me after him. So from the earliest moments, I've been kind of tied to literature. Even when I was little, my mother, single mom, worked at a bindery. A bindery is a place where they put books together. And so my earliest memories, being 5, was walking into mom's work and having the wonderful scent of fresh ink and cut paper. And today, for me, it's like going home. If I crack open a box of books that I get back from the printer, or I go to a printing company to go and check, do page proofs or something like that for our books, it feels like home. Scents and really trigger memory, and books have always been part of my life. I will say, though, I didn't really think I'd ever be here. I trained to be a high school English teacher, and for a while I was paying my way to go through school, I was a stripper. But that was, exactly. See, this is where they said I'm supposed to share, my past so they get to know me.
Turn out the light.
That's actually if you're working in the printing business, you strip negatives, right, for printing presses. And so for a while, I was a stripper. It's my little joke. It always raises eyebrows. And then, getting into this world of literature and writing and publishing, they always say, if you want to become a writer, marry well. And that is true. You find someone who has the day job, who can go and support you, and leave you alone to go ahead and do your writing. Well, I married very, very well. My wife is, when I met her very, very early, we were both getting into the writing scene, and she joined the Manitoba Writers Guild, and managed to get me a gig designing a website for them. And then someone in the office got pregnant, and I got to fill in for them, and for 7 years, I was on the side of light, fighting the good fight for writers, giving advice to burgeoning writers, answering the questions about agents and contracts, and my wife worked for Turnstone Press for about 10 years, 8-10 years, and then this great opportunity came up. the original owners, well, they've been at it for 35 years. And it's one of the challenges that's facing all small press publishing is who's going to take over the business. It happens with independent bookstores. You know, there's all these people who started up writing publishing ventures in the 60s and 70s and brought Canadian culture to the fore, you know, made Canada a place worth writing about, who believed in the stories that we write, that you guys write, you know, believed in your experiences and said, you know what, it's important to go ahead and share it. You know, we don't need to just hear about stories from, you know, pastoral England, you know, that you know, the pilots of, you know, Canadians far north and living life on the prairie is important. And I mean, in Manitoba, that's what Turnstone was all about. Originally, Turnstone was founded to go ahead and bring voice to prairie writers. And we started off publishing poetry. That was the original plan was to actually only do an anthology. It was just to do one book of poetry and put it out because these writers needed to go ahead and have a place. The talent was just too strong to pass up, and there weren't any opportunities. If you weren't from the big centers, there was no way as a poet you would ever be heard. So our founders, who wrestled with the name, I think we started off originally as Five Beards Press, trying to bring back the tradition a little bit. They came up with Turnstone for the hardy shorebirds, the little guys that travel thousands and thousands and thousands of miles and then pick through the rocks for those few little gems and scraps of food, you know, and look for those nuggets, those tasty morsels. And they search and they search and they search and they spend their days flipping over stone after stone after stone. And I just love that image because that's kind of what we do in publishing. You know, we're always looking for those wonderful, tasty little nuggets that are going to go ahead and just take us away. And I wish, as a small press publisher, I could uncover more nuggets, you know, that could publish more. But the realities are such that, you know, we do about 8 to 12 books a year. And there are, including my wife and myself, 2.2 employees working there, and you know, I get to do a little bit of everything. I've always been an itchy kind of worker. You know, I've never really felt satisfied being a bean counter or being a designer or being an administrator. I like to do it all. Keeps me busy, makes me happy. So at Turnstone, I designed the website. I designed the covers, which I'm always proud of my covers. You know, Janice McDonald's Condemned to Repeat. Janice said she needed a creepy bathtub from Rutherford House in Edmonton, so I gave her a creepy bathtub. Food for the Gods and Thunder Road by Chadwick Ginter. You know, this is where I get to have my fun. And then there's the misery of filling out grant applications and, you know, making sure that we stay in business. Right now is a very challenging time, interesting time, exciting time. Depends on how you want to look at it. I see it as a very exciting time to be in publishing because there's so much happening and changing. You know, it even, you know, brings to the point of asking, what exactly am I doing as a publisher? You know, what is my role in the future? You know, I know it's been pretty set for a long, long time what publishers do, but now we're into this world of multimedia promotion and, you know, social networking and, you know, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of it's also being dumped onto authors to go ahead and do this, right? So how do we as publishers go ahead and, you know, offer you guys something? Because really, we're in the back, right? We grease the wheels, we try and make things happen, but you guys, the writers, the readers, that's what this is all about. And you know, with all the the craziness of bookstores closing and giant multinationals merging because they need to make it more profitable. You know, I do sometimes ask why I continue doing it, and it's because of you guys, and because of you guys. You know, the one thing that I've always felt very, very strong about is the power of story and how it connects us and how it is fundamentally human. You know, there's things like economics and the other things that make the world go round, but for me, what makes the world go round is us telling stories. And the people beside me here who have been doing it, you know, for book after book after book and entertaining you guys and making you want more. And those of you who, you know, have had great experiences, sometimes crazy ones like Shirley. That's just life, exactly. And you know, the sharing of our lives between each other is so important. And as a small publisher, I look at it as my responsibility, my duty, to try and make as many places available for those stories to be told. I thank you guys for sharing them and for reading them. You know, I had an interesting conversation today where we were talking about readers and how they sometimes forget how important they are to the whole process. I mean, readers, you guys are just, you know, we need you. We need you out like this. This is so awesome. You know, in Winnipeg, we're very lucky where we have a culture of people coming out to readings and signings. Toronto is sometimes a little on the scary side, you know, for people to come out and support authors. I need you guys to, every time you see a book author signing come out, you know, go out to the bookstore, check them out, say hi, you know, get your book signed. Because we're all part of the same system. It's not the dark side, the publishers, versus the side of good, the authors, versus, you know, versus the readers. You know, like we're all trying to go ahead and do the same thing, is to go ahead and get wonderful, moving stories that fascinate us, that pique our interest, and, you know, just move the world along. So I don't think that's exactly what I had planned to talk about at all, and I probably began to ramble, which I'm starting to do now. So I will leave it at that.